Hello, church family. Today we're going to be in Psalm 7. In fact, we're going to break it down into two parts. The first thing that we're going to look at is Psalm 7, 1 through 8, and then we're going to look at verses 9 through the end in another video because of the length of the psalm. So let's jump in and let's see how this psalm comes about. So Psalm 7, the introduction, right here, which is kind of these initial text, which is part of the actual psalm itself. It identifies itself as a shigion, which is an unknown technical kind of poetic notation. If you read any commentary or anything like that, some people think that it means that it's unmetered. Sometimes poetry is set to meter, and a meter is just basically think like a cadence or a beat. So in English poetry, iambic pentameter was a very popular form of meter to put poems in. There's a little bit of debate about how metered or unmetered Hebrew poetry is. Some think that might mean what it is, but we're not sure. It doesn't really matter. It matters more that we understand that this is of David. It says, which he sang, and he's singing to the Lord. And then he's going to tell us what it's about. So it's concerning the words of Cush the Benjamite. And we're going to see how he's going to talk about this within the psalm. So this Cush character, Cush is a name here. Obviously, we don't have a named Cush in the text of like 2 Samuel, whenever the main portion of David's narrative is found. We don't know what this Cush said. We know that he's from Benjamin. We know that he's saying things, as is often the case. We see other instances where a guy by the name of like Shammai in 2 Samuel 16 is taunting David. We see others plot against David, including Absalom, his son, from a text like Psalm 3. But we don't know who this guy is. Maybe he's part of those people who are pursuing his life at the end of 1 Samuel with Saul. Maybe it's somebody later in his life. So we just don't quite know. But we do know that he's singing this because of the words that he's saying. So let's look at the psalm. O Lord my God, in you do I take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me, lest they, like a lion, tear my soul apart. Rending, which is just another word for tear my soul apart, rending it to pieces with none to deliver. So there's a declaration of who God is, right? God's character here in verse 1. O Lord my God, in you I take refuge. And then there's a petition, save me, right? Save me from all my pursuers. And then he's going to say, because if you don't save me, what are things like? Lest, like a lion, they tear my soul apart, rending it to pieces with none to deliver. And when he says with none to deliver, he's basically just saying there's no one to deliver but you. If you don't save me, who's gonna deliver me? And then he is going to repeat that, O Lord my God, right? So, O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there is wrong in my hands, if I have repaid my friend with evil or plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it. So if I'm guilty, so he's going to say if, it's an if kind of then clause, right? So if this is the case, and then there's kind of an implied then kind of right here, then let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it. So if I've done these things, if I am guilty, right, I deserve punishment. Let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it. Let them trample my life to the ground and lay my glory in the dust. Selah. This word Selah, is a unknown kind of technical poetic notation. I know I've heard a lot of people say very confidently and definitively that it means pause. We have no indication that it means that other than its placement within various psalms, so it may or may not mean that. It is found commonly at the end of a section in the psalm, at an end of a pause in a section in the Psalms, though. So, and then he's going to call for God to act. So if I'm guilty, then do this, God, like give me over, let the enemy take over. But He's going to plead. He doesn't think he's guilty. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift yourself up against the fury of my enemies. So if I'm guilty, let my enemies overtake me. But God, you know that I'm not guilty, right? Lift yourself up against the fury of my enemies. Awake for me. Arise and awake. He's saying the same thing, kind of thing. You have appointed a judgment. So you've appointed that these people be judged. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about you. Over it return on high. So you've got this scene of the righteous and the wicked, and that we see in like Psalm 1:6, and you see it in other places in the book of Psalms, is that the wicked won't stand in the judgment, nor the sinner in the congregation of the righteous, for the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. So he's saying, like, you've appointed a judgment. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about you, right, in your midst. Over it, return on high, right? So just sit in your court and arise for judgments, God. So he's calling for him to arise for judgment. And then he's going to start talking about that in 8. The Lord judges the people. So again, this is kind of that courtroom scene. Judge me. Coming back to this text up here. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to the integrity that is in me. And David knows he has no integrity of himself, but he knows that his integrity is in God and who God is and what God has done. And we know that our integrity is not in our own righteousness or anything that we've done, but in Christ. And here David is he's crying out for the enemy to basically face judgment and for his integrity to be upheld. David wasn't perfect. David did a lot of things wrong. But in this case, as he's hearing the words of Cush the Benjamite, he's saying, I am not guilty of these things. And what does he do? Well, he goes to social media. Nope, that's not what he does. What does he do? He tells his best friend. Nope, that's not what he does. He goes to the Lord and he composes a song to God. That's how focused he is on God. So the next time somebody is speaking against you or saying things about you, go to the Lord. He listens.